4, 3, 2, 1. Office Exchange Podcast. I have my good friend Jay here with me.
Hi guys, what's up?
Wait, so why Jay?
Okay, so originally I used to be called it's weird. So my real name in Arabic is Jabir,
Okay.
like Jabr.
Mm-hmm.
But in middle school and elementary school, everybody called me Jabbar, and I hated it, and I was just like, whatever. I've always wanted my name to be like,
Jaber.
yeah, I know.
Oh, okay,
I'll
okay,
get to it.
okay.
I've always wanted my name to be like Kevin or like
Why?
Dominic,
Why?
because it's like a regular name that
Well,
people
not
know.
Anthony, man.
You know, whatever. I'm just saying some regular name, you know, like that people can pronounce. That didn't have to like be like, oh, is Jabir here? Where?
Yeah, no,
You know,
I get that.
always like an issue. So then I went to high school, and somebody said Jabir, like just said it, and I was like, okay, like yeah, go with it, and then it just stuck. So now I just go by Jay. Now, like even when I introduce myself at work or like school, like everybody in school knows me as Jay. Nobody knows me at like.
That's definitely easier.
Yeah, it's just easier.
Does it frustrate you when people mess up your name though, when you were growing up?
You know what? Like I think I have a big enough personality that like I don't. That's why names don't mean a big deal to me.
Mm.
That you can call me Kevin. Like at work, I used to tell them, if you want to call me Kevin, easier for you, just go ahead. Like you're gonna remember my personality. You're not gonna remember my name. It's fine.
Now, does this have to do with, so you're Arabic, right?
Oh, you got it right.
So
Because most people say like you're Muslim. I'm like, okay.
okay,
That's a
hold on.
religion, not a, you know.
Okay, explain the difference though
So
for anybody who doesn't.
yeah. So Muslim is a religion for anybody. It's Islam, the religion that you're practicing.
Mhm.
Anybody can do it.
Mhm.
They just have to convert to it or like do like the process of doing it, of like practicing it. The culture or your ethnic background is like Middle Eastern Arabic.
Mhm.
Like I take Arabian, Arabic, Middle Eastern. Those are like what I identify with.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then Muslim is
The religion.
okay. Interesting.
Yeah, I did a whole documentary for my media class about it. Of
Oh,
like,
really?
Like people always like to put me in the category of like brown,
Mm.
and I'm like brown is like South Asian.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I called it boxed in because people like to box me in that category. And I
Right,
don't
right,
think, so I interviewed like 3 Indian Americans, one straight from India, like an exchange student. Then
Mhm.
her best friend, she's Indian but also Hindu.
Mhm. Oh,
So
interesting.
yeah, so then that goes into a sphere. And then there's an Indian girl who's Christian, and so that brought another aspect into it of like you're not just Hindu if you're from India. You can be
Mm.
Christian at the same time.
Yeah.
And then I
yeah,
interviewed
makes
3
sense.
people from my country and what they thought about like Islam and being in the Middle Eastern culture, and it just told a story of like being brown is completely different than being Middle Eastern.
Right,
We
right,
have
right.
different labels, different foods.
And people
The religion might be the same,
Yeah.
and people like to like mix it, but
Right,
it's
right.
not. It's not the same thing.
And people don't take the time out to understand that or care enough.
I mean,
Even-
they just get annoyed. They're like, "Why is it so complicated?" Be like, because if you're gonna
Because-
label it, at least know the right label.
Yeah.
I
'cause
guess.
we're fucking different. That's why
Yeah,
we're not the same.
no, it's fine. I'm here to educate. I never take it as like offensive.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the one thing that I say, like, you have to educate people on things, and you have to try and be educated on different topics, right?
We were all ignorant at one time,
Mhm.
so I don't think it's fair for me to be like, "Yo, you're mad stupid." Like, I don't want to fuck with this person.
I was actually at school yesterday actually, and I was talking to a girl, and she was wearing the
hijab.
hijab, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I asked her, I was like, "Oh, so are you Muslim?" She was like, "Yeah." But my friend, who's also Muslim, was like, "Why are you asking that?" I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, and he wasn't saying it in like a bad way. He's like, "You're dumb if you don't know she's Muslim." And I was like, "Well, you know, I don't want to just assume what you are, so I'm gonna ask." You know,
That's true. That's very
But-
respectful of you.
that's what she said. But
Yeah,
his
it
point of view is, you're an idiot for not knowing. So I was like, all right, whatever. But I'm still gonna ask anyway, no matter who it is, and things like that. But fun fact:
Mm-hmm.
before I ever had a podcast, you were the first podcast I was ever on,
Yes,
and
you were.
And I was
I
like,
think you were what? The second.
second, yeah. And I was like, this is so cool because I watch podcasts all the time, and at the time I was like just doing like the whole vlogging and like getting into like camera and things, photography and stuff like that. And then you asked me to be on your podcast. I'm like, yo, I'm super down. So we did it. That was
Wow.
awesome experience.
Yeah.
And now I'm here.
Yeah, I mean, I am always interested in digital media. Like, I've always been interested in it.
Yeah.
First of all, I just want to say, I know I'm cutting people off. You can cut this out. Am I looking there or there?
Well, it doesn't matter. Well, if you want to talk to people, you look there. But we're having a conversation, so it doesn't
Okay,
matter.
so I'm gonna start.
But while you speak, that camera will be
on me, yeah, that's fine. Okay, so I've always been interested in digital media.
Mm-hmm.
So when I like told you to come on my podcast, it was like something that I wanted the campus to have, of like some kind of like element to learn about different backgrounds, different topics, something that college students can relate on, but also like it'd be funny and just like a conversation people can listen to. So I thought I should bring you in because you just seem like you have extroverted, like positive energy person.
Yeah.
And you brought a different aspect into it. I forgot what we talked about, honestly.
Dude,
but
I don't even know.
Yeah, but I mean, you were cool to have on because I could ask you questions and you were like comfortable of answering them. And you weren't like a person who's like closed off. Whatever the case may be.
Do you still do the podcast? Or are you
no, I can't. Not right now in my life because I am not human.
Yeah. You're not human.
No, I'm not human. I sleep 5 hours a day, usually every day. Yeah.
And you work.
Yeah, I work like 48 to 52 hours a week.
2 schools.
I go to an accelerated program that's every day. You never get breaks. You get 6 days out of the summer to yourself.
That's
the
awesome.
Entire summer.
Yeah.
What else? I cry my sleep, wondering about my life. My girlfriend calls me and says, "Are you crying though?" Stuff like that. Yeah. So I'm not human.
Why are we laughing at that? I don't know.
No, it's funny. It goes into our topic of mental health.
Yeah, mental health.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Go right into it.
So, mental health. Look at that. I think people are getting tired of hearing me say this when it comes to like therapy.
Mm-hmm. Wait. Side note. You said the word Muslim, and it's right because Americans say that, but I always say Muslim because like there's no Z in the Arabic language, so I say Muslim. Like how it's spelled. Like it's spelled M-U-S.
Yeah.
There's no Z.
Mus.
Wait,
hold on. S. So Muz is S sound, no? Or am I?
Yeah,
Muslim.
the S sound, but you're saying it with a Z sound. Listen, Muslim.
Okay.
Muslim. See the difference? There's an S. You were saying Z.
No, I know. You're saying Z.
No, I'm saying Muslim. See, that's the Z. Muslim is the right way to say it. Not right way, but I just say it that way because there's no Z in the like in Arabic. There is a Z, but when you say it in like the Arabic way, it's Muslim. We don't say it with a Z.
Okay, I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna try now.
Okay. Repeat after me, Anthony.
Muslim.
Mus? Can you say mus? Lim. There you go. Muslim. It's a little thing to get used to.
Wait, does this bother like people?
No, I don't. I think it's just me because I'm a fucking like maniac about stuff like this.
So, but if I say Muslim,
it doesn't offend anybody because they know like in America people and like people who are like Paki in Bangladesh, right? They're from where they're from or their parents are from. They will not mind it because they were raised here. But like if you're Middle Eastern, you know the right way to say it is Muslim.
Wait, so can we talk about that though?
Yeah,
I guess like the way like the Muslim community is looked at in American like culture and society.
How it's looked at?
Yeah.
Okay.
People will look at Muslim people like they're. So of course not everyone. Some people look at them like they're the worst things in the world because of what they see and what they think that the Muslim religion.
And I'm glad you brought it up because I'll bring it into our topic of mental health. It's also something like the culture.
Yeah.
So people perceive it. I think it's based really on the media of how they, show it. There's a lot of like misconceptions. I'm not gonna lie. The Middle Eastern culture is very hard. It's very strict. It's very like black and white. There's no gray in it. It's like this is
very
just the
different.
Yeah, I mean this is just the way we do things.
Right.
You are not gonna like.
Different in comparison to the.
Yeah, different. I think comparison to anything. To besides Judaism, it's like Orthodox Jew.
Yeah.
Is the best way I can describe like Middle Eastern culture. It's like being conservative, like arranged marriages, like the man is the provider, the woman is not. Like even though she works and stuff, like the man is always going to be the person who is known for that, like the alpha male.
Right.
I think the religion is just people have been breaking it down more and more, like in media, as in like they're bad people. And
I agree.
I don't necessarily think it's anyone's fault, because if you have a mind and you read, I think you should be fine.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like if you
Yeah.
just Googled stuff and like understood what the religion really stood for,
But
you would get it.
People,
But people don't do
They
that.
do
People
that.
like to like go on Twitter and Instagram and be like, "Oh my God, another terrorist attack!
Right.
Wow, fuck you."
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I get it. I don't blame anybody. I just if you're not blatantly disrespectful towards me. I mean, I look Dominican, apparently.
Okay.
I've gotten that a bunch of times. So people don't usually know what's my ethnic background. They either say like Hispanic or Middle Eastern.
Mm-hmm.
One or the other I usually get. So I have it like, I'm fortunate enough. But like my sisters and my mom, like the other day my sister was teaching my mom how to drive.
Yeah.
And a guy, she was like parallel parking at the park, and he stood right in front of the parking spot. And my sister was like, "Excuse me, sir, we're trying to park. Do you mind just stepping over?" And he's like, "We don't wear that in this country." And my mom was wearing it, yeah. He's like, "We don't wear that." My sister
She
went
was in that job?
off. She's wearing, my mom wears a whole burqa, so you only see her
okay,
eyes.
okay.
Hmm.
Wow.
And my sister went off. She was like cursing him out. She's like, "Are you fucking stupid?"
Holy
Yeah.
shit. Was
I mean,
was your
that's-
sister wearing the hijab?
Yeah, my
Or-
sister, all my sisters wear it. My mom wears it because my family's super, super conservative.
Yeah.
And like super, like my parents are village people.
Wow, that's
like,
fucked up. You know what it is? That's the thing, yo. I swear, people.
oh no, he said maybe she'll see better if she wasn't wearing that. Yeah. But that's like a normal thing for me, Anthony. Like when I was in like 5th grade, I used to walk my mom to the library with me, and they used to throw rocks at her and be like, "Go back to your country," and stuff like that. Yeah, my sisters get weird looks all the time. They get stared at all the time. Like I know there's catcalling, but we get a different catcalling. I like to call it like racist catcalling because they get like stared at all the time. Be like, or they come up to them and be like, "Are you hot in that?" Yeah, they are hot in that, but I don't think it's any of your, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, my sister's always nice about it.
Holy shit. Yo, see, I'm so happy that you said that because these are the things that I want this podcast to be about, right? Like, okay, there are so many women out there that probably get treated like this and they feel like they're alone because they may not necessarily have anybody around them that may be treated the same way, or when they tell their friends might not believe them and things like that. But you're sitting here saying you've seen it, your family has been treated like that, and that is,
yeah, it's a regular thing.
You see, that's the thing too. Like, I think what the problem is with society and people's point of views is they haven't had this happen to somebody that they know, right? So they'll be
So it
like,
doesn't hit home.
right? So they'll hear something or they'll read a news line, and to some people it doesn't bother them. They're like,
Yeah.
whatever, like that is what it is. And then some people are like, oh, it's fake or it's this, it's that. But when you know somebody personally that it's had happened to, it hits a different nerve.
Yeah.
You know, and these are the conversations that need to be had because there are so many people out there who just like brush it off like, oh, it's no big deal.
I just feel like people think if it's not mentioned, it's not real.
Yeah. Or if they haven't
know?
seen it, it's not.
Yeah,
never
like
happened.
like now suicide rates are like the highest,
Yeah.
they've ever been. And before they'd be like, "Oh, he's not gonna do it," or like when it happened, they're like, "I
And
never thought the person would do it."
That's-
It's
that's-
because it's like, it's not, you've never experienced it. Does not mean that it's not a real thing that the
Yeah,
person.
that's like the Mac Miller situation.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
It's like,
Nobody
all
pays
that.
attention to him.
and I really think these things are rooted from people just not taking the time to like process their feelings. Because I've had rock bottoms. Like recently, I've had like the worst rock bottom of my life.
So-
And
Why do you mean processing feelings? You mean like
like understanding where like their ignorance come from, or like the hate for these people, or like, where does it come from? Maybe like you are projecting your hate on somebody else because you didn't get what you wanted at home. You didn't get the attention you wanted at home. You didn't get the love or the acceptance from your dad at home. So you're like, I'm gonna project this because this is how I feel, and you don't even know that. Some people don't even know that.
Right. That's like a subconscious.
They're just
thing
like,
that
if
they
you
do
ask them
too,
why do you hate them,
because-
they don't belong in this country.
Right,
They're the reason
right,
what's
right.
wrong, whatever, right? But it's probably something deeper within,
Mhm.
and they're just not open to talk about it because that's not how they were raised.
Right.
And the funny thing is, when I was growing up, I was raised like completely the same way.
Mhm.
Like in the Middle Eastern culture, you're taught to like not talk about feelings. We don't talk about sex at all.
Mhm.
At all. Like that's like taboo. You don't talk about sex until like maybe a week before you meet your wife, you get married to her. like literally about like what's
Wow.
gonna happen.
That's interesting.
They don't talk about feelings. They don't talk about
And
depression.
Why
they
is
talk
that
about
though? It's just the way it's set up, or is there something in the Bible?
No,
that-
I think it's just the way they're set up because it's like if you bring these ideas into your kids' minds, then they're going to be more and more curious about it. But I don't think curiosity is a bad thing. I think if you have a like conversation with your kids about like the reason why we don't do these things is because these are the consequences.
Right.
So I'm educating you on it and letting you know about it. And if you do it,
It's-
I'm not going to be like happy about it, but
yeah.
it's not the end of the world.
Right. It's like, but another thing is like, you have to experience things to like learn them. And when you shell somebody in for so long, once they break that like shell and they go and do things, sometimes it could be, worse.
No, I know.
You know what I mean? Like, for example, an example I like to use when I'm talking about something like this is a kid who's been sheltered his whole life and then goes away for college.
Yeah.
And once they go away from college, they become like some changed person
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
because of the environment that they're in and the things that they haven't experienced in life. And once they experience it, it's like a whole new thing. And they're like,
Yeah, I just believe like I can only speak about my experiences.
yeah, no,
So like my experience has always been like I've always been the good kid in my family.
yeah.
Like that's always had the most pressure, I think. And
Are you
maybe
the oldest?
Huh?
You're the
No, I'm
oldest?
number 5. So
Oh, wow.
just so you guys know,
Wait, so who's the little kid?
I have a 6-year-old brother,
That's the
the
youngest.
youngest, and then I have a
Oh, your sister older.
27-year-old sister, and she
Okay.
turns 28 in November.
Nice.
So I'm 20 and I'm number 5. I have 2 older brothers, 2 older sisters,
Okay.
2 younger brothers. But I've always been put a lot of pressure. Maybe it's just I feel like that,
Mm-hmm.
and my older siblings have felt it, but I don't know. I feel like I just do a lot of work for my parents that I don't have to do or shouldn't have to do, and like I'm always not appreciated. Like even the other day, my mom was like, "I don't know why you're complaining. Why are you always tired? Didn't go to school today?" And I was like, "Because I work literally all the time. I couldn't
Yeah.
even wake up today."
But you know what it is? I understand how you feel when you don't feel appreciated and you're doing a lot, but that's beneficial for you in the long run because
Yeah,
it creates a work ethic and a mindset that others are not going to have and haven't experienced.
No, I definitely wouldn't have been like as successful as I was in high school if my dad didn't like break me down when I was like 13, 14.
Right.
I get it. I just don't think it's the best approach when
Mhm.
your kids are like 20, 25
Mm-hmm.
and you're still like treating them like they're 15.
Yeah.
That's what I don't get.
I get it. Everyone has their own. Let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that you turn into your parents as you get older?
You know what? I like try to always like I think about like kids when I have them.
Yeah.
No, I hate kids.
Yo, you say that, but that's not true.
Nah, I legit hate kids.
No, you don't.
Yes.
Because you're nice to your little brother. He's like your fucking best friend.
What? Who? Mo?
Yeah.
No, I haven't. Mo has been.
You don't lie. Don't
Mo
lie.
came-
Don't lie.
Anthony, Mo came from Egypt last Friday. I haven't seen him the whole week.
Okay.
I haven't said one word to him.
Don't lie to me. You love that little fucking thing.
I'm not a
Okay.
hater. I'm a lover.
Okay.
But like he's garbage. He treats me like trash. I'm dead
Bro,
serious.
don't do that. Listen, all right, whatever. Do you think you're gonna turn to your parents?
Yeah, so it's like I always try to think of like putting myself in their shoes. So like let's say like my kid was to be like I'm not straight, for example.
Right.
And like they told me that and they were like open to say that because we have that relationship. I don't know how to handle it. I wouldn't be like I hate you or don't be like that. But it's hard when you're like if I'm involved with that side of my family and my son is there or my daughter is there, I'm going to have to tell them. And then they're going to see me as like a crazy person
Mm-hmm.
that I'm allowing this. So it's like that. It's like that sense. It's like that black and white, that separation of like you're either this or that. There's no gray. There's no like
Yeah.
just because you're my cousin and I don't fully accept what you're going through or like what's happening in your life, I'm not going to cut you off completely or I'm not going to talk bad about you behind your back, you know? But they will do that because it's all about reputation. It's all about how like you represent yourself.
Yeah.
So in that sense, I understand why the things that my parents do of like why they do them, but I don't think that they're justified. Because if you really loved me, you would just want my happiness.
You see, the thing is with that, like you're gonna say like if you really love me, you want my happiness, but to them, happiness is different. like their idea of happiness is like, for example, let's say you're a success, right? So by success they may think have a house, materialistic things and whatnot, right? So you may think, okay, my happiness is who I love, who I'm with, who my friends are, and how I feel. Their happiness, what they think happiness is for you, or what they want happiness to be for you, is where you are in life and what you accomplish.
Yeah, but don't you think, like, ever since you were a kid, it's all about respecting your... I don't know what to do with this. Sorry.
It's all good.
Don't you think their happiness since you were a kid is, like, treating them with respect, being obedient, showing them love, and all that stuff?
You see, I agree, but I also know that we are from a different time than our parents. So when I am with my mom, and all she talks about is, you know, having a house and things like that, I can see that her happiness lies somewhere else than mine would, right? Because I'm happy living in this one floor apartment. Meanwhile, her is like, I want a house and a place to be on my own. And my happiness is having all my friends in this room. Meanwhile, her happiness may be, you know, I don't know, hanging out with her boyfriend in Mohegan Sun, you know?
Okay, well, I mean, I get that, but at the same time, it's like, my parents, if I moved out, my parents would still be happy they just lost a son. That's it. No, legit. I don't sugarcoat, stuff at all. Like, I think the way that you should be is blunt and brutal, because that's what, brings emotions. That's what brings the real conversations into play. If I moved out, my parents have lost a son. Completely. But my mom would still be good because she still has a house. She still has her husband. But it's like parents think that sometimes they're doing the right thing for their kids and they're actually pushing them away because I would tell them, like, I'm feeling this.
Okay, but how about this? So you said you like you like to try and put yourself in other people's shoes, their lens and whatnot. When it comes to like your parents and their raising, and not your parents in particular, but our elders and how they look at things.
Yeah.
If you try and put yourselves in their shoes and try and see what they went through, don't you think you would see it in a different lens, in a different way than you're seeing it now?
Well, if you're like I would see it in a different lens, but
Yeah.
I've thought of it that way. But if you've been a terrible son your whole life, like just been like a rebel and like never wanted to do what your parents said, always had worse grades, all this stuff, I get it. But when you've done everything right and you've reached a point where you're like, listen, I just want to do stuff on my own right now, and just like.
I understand where you're coming from.
You get what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying, but at the same time, it's like I like to, play devil's advocate. You know what I mean? Because
at the end of the day, I'm not living for my parents.
Right.
I'm living for myself.
Yeah.
To be honest, I will always love my parents and everything, but I'm living for myself. So it's like, it is what it is. You get it. You reach a point in your life where you're like, I don't really have to those rules that I have to follow for my parents don't seem as big anymore because you're almost 21.
Living your own life.
Like,
yeah. That's completely understandable. And I always said that I think that's what parents want. I think they want that life after their kids, though. Like, I think that some parents get frustrated. We know those people who are, 24, 25, still living in their parents' house and
that's my brother's now.
And but I think that can frustrate your parents because this is the way I look at it.
That's not how Middle Easterns are.
They want the kids in the house?
Yeah.
But you just said if you leave, then they're not going to care.
No, they're going to lose a son, meaning they're never going to talk to me again.
Why? If you leave, they won't talk to you.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'll tell you about my rock bottom.
Okay.
I decided I wanted to move out.
Okay. I'm interested now.
Okay. I decided I wanted to move out for multitude of reasons. Okay. Several. I've been depressed, literally, like, I think it's clinical, for the past, 2 years.
Okay. Did you go to a doctor or anything?
So I'm going to get into how I went to therapy and stuff.
I want to hear it.
There were days where I literally was in my room for 2 days, didn't eat. I just ate chips, watched Netflix for 2 days, didn't talk to nobody. My mom didn't even know I was home. She would just text me, do you want something? I wouldn't answer. That depressed. I hated everybody. I hated my brothers. I would yell at them, not want to talk to them. My brother was having a son, and he wanted to show me his baby pictures, and I was like, I literally don't give a shit right now. Like, I don't give a fuck about your life. To that point. Because I felt so unwanted in a house that should be like, this is my brother, I love him, whether the case of, whatever he's going through or whatever he loves or whatever the case may be, all that stuff of like, I should just appreciate him. And they don't, in the Middle East or even South Asian culture, it's kind of like they have this big carpet and all the serious vulnerability things, they just put it under the carpet. Yeah. And then when somebody dies or there's a wedding, they're like, okay, everybody, you ever watch Malcolm in the Middle?
Yeah.
And that point where the mom, they're trying to take a family photo and they're all like crazy. Yeah. And the mom's like, we're going to have 10 seconds. Everybody's going to smile and they're going to look at the camera and we're going to take a good family photo. That's how it is. That's literally how it is. It's like when it's a wedding, everybody say, oh my God, this is my brother. I love him so much. Look how handsome he is. Look how good he's going to school. He's so smart. All this stuff. But literally at home, there's none of that.
But do you think that's your household or
I think it's the Middle I think it's the Middle Eastern culture. I don't think it's any. That's what I'm saying. I can only speak from my personal experience.
Right. Okay, yeah.
But
we're not gonna just assume.
Yeah, I'm not gonna generalize it. I just feel that's literally how the Middle Eastern culture is, because there's aspects of it. There's families who their parents were raised here or came here when they were young, and they're having kids now because they're getting older and older, and they understand. So they're a little more like open-minded about it. Right. Like if you ever guys heard of like Adam Saleh, right? He's a YouTuber. He has like 3 million.
Oh yeah, I think I have seen him before.
Yeah, his parents are so old. I knew him before he got on YouTube. Like my parents and his parents knew of each other.
Really?
Yeah, he's a regular Yemeni kid. He's nothing special about him at all.
Nice.
At all. Cool. He's just had a good perspective on life.
Yeah.
His parents are really old at the point that they're like, what are we gonna do? Like,
right.
Kill, like, beat our son to death if he doesn't want to listen to us, like, no, at that point they're like, I'm getting older, like my health is really bad, I just want him to be happy.
Right.
And I don't want my parents to reach that point, but it's like they get to a certain extent where you're like, it's either me or them.
So getting back to the middle or your household's kind of mindset, so they sweep on everything underneath the rug.
Yeah, and then they don't want to talk about it.
And you were depressed.
Yeah, I suffer with anxiety, really bad anxiety, and depression.
Okay.
There's just days where I'm like unmotivated. I don't want to do anything.
Now I don't suffer from that at all, or I don't suffer. I don't like to use the word suffer because then it makes it sound like, I don't know. I just feel like.
But it is. It's definitely
suffering. Yeah. No, I understand. Okay. How does that feel though? Because I don't know. So explain to me. Like you wake up one day and like what?
You don't want to get out of bed at all.
You just lay there.
That's it.
And do you? Because I know some days I'll lay, not some days, but like for a couple minutes after I wake up, I'll lay and look at my phone. Do you even care about that, or just nothing?
No, I look at my phone, but it's like if I look at my phone, I just want to be on my phone and listen to music and watch things that make me laugh because I feel like absolute shit. Not physically, but mentally. I don't want to do, like, that's how I feel. I feel unmotivated. If my friends were like, we love you, I'd be like, okay, cool. Like, it doesn't matter to you because you don't love yourself. Because you live in a toxic environment.
Yeah.
Where everyone around you is basically telling you, like...
Yeah. If you don't love yourself, then how can you?
Yeah, how could you love anybody else? But that's what I'm saying. The people that you love the most don't give you that unconditional love.
Right. And then it'll sprinkle down. And
yeah, so when I had my my rock bottom, I was at a point where, like, I felt everything I was doing was not enough for my parents. Like, I worked as a supervisor at Starbucks. I was doing well in school, but I was unmotivated to go to school because every single day my dad would be like, why are you working at this job? Like, you're stupid for working at this job. Why? You're dumb. Every single day.
What else did he want you to do?
He wanted me to work at the deli.
Like a family.
Yeah, he wanted me to work at the deli, and he takes most of the money, and I get like $100, $150, and he'll take care of the rest. So that's the thing. It's like, he wants you to live his image of what you are, right? So it's that, and then I always wanted to go like off campus to school. I was never allowed that opportunity because they were against it. I could never go out with friends ever. Like, I can't just be like, hey Anthony, it's 9 o'clock, let's go to Buffalo Wild Wings. That doesn't happen. I have to lie to them about something. Like that kind of stuff. I can't just be myself. I can't wear the clothes that I want. Everything is like restricted. You know,
you just didn't want to be in that environment anymore.
Yeah, I just was like, I don't, like, you guys don't seem like you care about me and the decisions that I want, even though I'm telling you I'm not doing anything wrong. I tell you what time I come home, all that kind of stuff. They drink and smoke in front of me because we're not allowed to drink or smoke, and I've never drank ever in my life.
Wait, you're Arabic.
No, Muslims can't drink.
So I'm confused.
We're prohibited from drinking.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. So
So-
I'm saying like they're scared that if I go out with American friends that they'll influence me to have sex.
But they smoke?
No.
Oh, okay.
Saying
Okay. You're
my
saying
friends, yeah. I'm saying
Oh,
the
I
people
got
that
it.
I hang out with, that's why they
Got it,
wouldn't
got
let
it,
me.
got it. I
Yeah,
thought
sorry.
your
That was
parents,
unclear.
I was like, wait.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Got
They
it.
think because they drink and smoke that I would be
That
like
you would do that as well, and that you. And
but I've seen it since I was like 16,
Right,
maybe
right,
middle school even.
yeah, no, of course.
Yeah, and I've never done it.
Nuts.
It's like you should trust me enough that how you raised me would be the
Mhm.
right way that I wouldn't do it. You know?
I understand that, and like I said, I will play devil's advocate. Don't you think that's like kind of, I guess, nice that they are trying to keep you away from that? Like, it may be a harsh way of keeping you away from it by telling you have to do this, you have to do that. But if you think about it, it's like they actually care about you. There are some parents that don't.
But why do you care?
Why do they care?
Mhm.
Because they
Why
want
do they
you
care
to,
if I drink?
because to them, that isn't what success is, or that isn't what they want you to really do. Even if you don't think it's them caring, that is them caring about you. If you know what I'm trying to say.
No, I get the intent, but it's like you don't want me to have any friends then? Like you don't want people around. Like I live in this country
Right.
where Americans drink, they have girlfriends, they have sex, they talk
Right.
about that kind of stuff, they go out late at night. You don't want me to be part of that. Like
Yeah.
you just want me to stay home and work all day, and like that's what causes those feelings. That's what causes you to feel depressed, feel alone in this world because you don't have space to express yourself at home. So my extension is expressing it with my friends
Mm-hmm.
and acting
And
the
if
way I
you
want
can't
to
see
act.
your friends, then
I know my values. I know you're not supposed to drink. I know you're
Yeah.
not supposed to do that stuff. My dad literally sells beer since I was like 8, Anthony. And I go to when I go to the store, I see pimps with prostitutes come in with their prostitutes.
Yeah.
I see weed dealers all the time. I see beer and I see alcohol. Like I know these things.
Mm-hmm.
Do I do them? No, because I know the person I am. I know how my parents are. I have enough respect for my religion to not do it.
Right.
That's just me. Regardless, even if I did it, you would never know. So what does it change? It's like you think because you are protecting me from those things that I can't be around them. But if I'm around them and I'm mature enough and tell you I'm not going to do them, wouldn't you like respect that more? Or if I did them, I'm going to tell you. Wouldn't you respect that even more that we have that kind of relationship? Like if my kids were ever to have sex and they did it because they loved somebody and they told me, I'd be fine with it. I would not be like, woo, go do that again. But I'd be like, okay. You know, if you really feel like that about the person, of course I would raise them in that way, but I would want them to have a relationship where they at least could come up to me and say that to me.
Right. That's completely understandable. And I agree with everything that you're saying when it comes to, having a partner and the divide between parents and kids, or like their offspring, if that's the word you want to use. But when you're saying these things like, okay, if you want to have sex, as long as you love that person, it's okay. You're saying that because that's the environment that we are in. Not just saying you, I'm saying like me as well. Like when we grew up, that's what was the thing. But like I said before, the way your parents grew up is different. So they're not going to think the way you do.
Yeah, but you brought me into this country.
Okay, that's true.
So so you want to reap all the benefits of this country, yet be the exact copy of what is in Yemen?
Well, this is the thing. Well, okay.
That's all I'm asking. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, like I said, I understand what you're saying, but you have to also kind of see their point of view. And I know it's hard for you because it's like it hits home more. Like it's easy for me to say because I'm not in that environment and I haven't experienced it like you have. But it's like sometimes you have to. It's tough. And I'm sorry that you actually like go through that. That's hard.
I go through a lot, like a lot of bullshit.
You want to talk about like therapy and
so when I've reached the rock bottom and like it was a no joke, like a telenovela. So my mom did it.
Look at that.
Yeah, no, I'm dead serious. Like in telenovelas how dramatic they are.
Yeah.
When I told my parents, because the conversation started as in like they found a girl that was like attractive to my mom and that was like good enough in their eyes for me, like all that I wanted, because they have conversations about like who you want to marry, like what do you want to look for, da da da. They found one, and then my dad was like, I want you to get married, I want you to get engaged, like look serious about it. He's like, don't worry about the money, I got it, I'll pay for it, yada yada yada. Like not have a wedding, but at least like an engagement or something like that.
Right.
I was like, I don't want to. Like, not right now. I want to finish school. I've been telling you this since I was 17. I want to finish school, and then I'll worry about that. And he got upset because I was like, I'll think about it. I never gave him a decision. And then he just brought it up out of nowhere. And I was like, I don't want to get married, and I hate you guys, and I want to move out.
You told them that?
Yeah.
And what'd they say?
They were so pissed. They're like, you hate us. Oh, we've done everything for you. What happened to you? You were like the greatest kid ever. Like, you used to listen to everything. I'm like, because you guys don't let me be myself. You think every time I say yes is I want to do it? I do it because I'm too scared to say no.
Right.
Like, Anthony, I got into a car accident first ever in my life with my dad's Dodge. And I was 18, I think, at the time. And my mom was right next to me, like the passenger seat.
Right,
it was this big Tundra truck.
Mm-hmm.
It was like an intersection going like traffic this way and that way.
Okay.
You're supposed to stop at the middle and then turn.
Yeah.
I didn't stop at the middle because I was sleepy, I guess, or I just didn't know. But it was a red light on the other side, so I was like, it's a red light, whatever. Let me turn. Tundra hit it. First thing I ever thought, my dad is gonna have my balls hanging from the wall. You know, I didn't think about like if he came closer, my mom would have been hit. I didn't think about that. I didn't think about dying. I didn't think about nothing. Think about my dad and what he's gonna think of me. That's how scary they make it seem.
Right.
Like they make your dad seem like you never really have a relationship with your dad, like a fun-loving conversation, nothing like that. I always say I have one parent, to be honest, because my mom raised me. My dad didn't raise me.
Right.
My dad was always just the provider.
Yeah.
So it's like if you were a little kid and your mom is fed up with you, she'd be like, "Okay, I'm calling your dad," and your dad will handle it, and then that's it. That's like you're like in really, really big trouble. So you never like have that. Yeah, I don't really even see my dad as a person. I see him as like a landlord.
Right.
It's like a person that I'm like scared to talk to. My dad never calls me. He calls my mom to talk to me about it. So when I was thinking about moving out, I was like, I'm just sick of this. Like I'm a good kid. Like I work my ass off at Starbucks, and I used to give him $1,000 a month. Don't think I didn't give him money. Out of my money, I gave him $1,000.
Wow.
Every month, no questions asked. Just like, here you go. My mom was still like, I need $1,200.
For what?
She says to save for marriage, but it's also like to pay the bills because I live there and stuff like that. And I didn't mind it as long as I got to.
Though.
Anthony, I know. I know you because like if I was to tell you everything that I've been through, you'd be like, how do you even process it? That's why I got into such a bad depression. That's why I get such bad anxiety because it's like these things. It's just the way it is. So that's why I was fed up. It's like I'm working at Starbucks. I give you $1,000 a month. I don't ask. My dad hasn't paid for one thing that I wanted since I was 14. I haven't asked my dad for $1 since I was 14. Besides mortgage bills, but he lives there too, and like it's his whole family. Right. But like I never say, hey dad, can I get $20 to buy this shirt? No. He'll be like, where's your money? Don't you work? And then go on and on and about it. And tell other people that like 17 and he's an idiot and doesn't have money. It's that kind of stuff. It's like I've always had to be independent. So my mom basically was like, I heard her in her room, like begging to God, like, what is happening? Like crying, like sobbing her eyes out. My dad left the house, had to walk around the park, and they basically just had a breakdown of like, what is going on? Like, you know how telenovelas, they're like, oh my God, screaming. That's how my parents were. When I told them I told my mom I wanted to move out. My dad didn't even know.
So, did you move out?
No.
Did you? So you
because I love my that like weekend.
What was the outcome of that conversation?
That weekend, like I stayed in my room for 2 days and I didn't talk to anybody at all. Maybe my friends. Oh, I did. I called my friends and told them what's going on. I called them before about like moving out and stuff, and they told me. And then they told me like, if you think that's what it is, like you got a place with me. If you ever want to come, I'll let you crash. Like don't even worry about it. Like I have that good support system, fortunately. Then my mom came and she told me like, drink this water because I prayed on it. So maybe like somebody gave you the evil eye. I just want you to be happy. So if you think like something is going on with you, like internally, I want you to go see a psychologist and all this stuff. But it wasn't in the sense of like, like now the same problems are still coming up again.
Okay, but wait. So did you go see
Yeah.
what was it, a therapist?
Yeah, I go to this.
Oh, you still currently go.
Yeah, I went
Nice.
today.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Okay,
I go
so-
every Friday at 12:30.
Okay.
She is a social clinician, and basically you go in and you talk about what's going on with your life, like what. First, you have a consultation.
One-on-one, or is it like a group?
Yeah, so I just Googled like what you have to do for therapy, like therapists in the area.
Right.
And you basically write like a little thing about you, like what you're going through, what you want to work on, and then they'll reach out to you. Or you can call offices and see if they take your insurance. I also asked a friend who goes to therapy or used to, and how she dealt with it, and she helped me through it. And she called me and was like, "Do you want to do a consultation at this time?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." I went in, and it literally is just like how we did the podcast. It was just like, "So how are you?"
Conversation.
Yeah, she's like, "Just how are you?" And from there, it was just a huge conversation. I cried
Mm-hmm.
in the end of it because she knows what to ask you.
Right. Therapists, they're professionals, right? So they
Yeah.
know how to get emotions out of you.
They know what hits home, like
Right.
where this is rooting from.
Right.
So like the things that I wanted to work at is like self-worth, self-image,
Mm.
depression, anxiety, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Accepting myself.
So, did it help? It helps. What,
Yeah. Completely. Like
would you suggest it for somebody who's
I literally, before I came to the podcast, I had to write my journal because I do journaling, which is like every week I'll write about how my week is, what I went through, what I experienced, is there any triggers, stuff like that, and I end it with a good note. And I worked this with my therapist. Like the first 4 or 5 times, we would just talk about stuff. The first time we ever met, we just talked about what I wanted to work on. Then the second 2 times, she gave us background, such as like, you know, your siblings, your dad, how do they grow up? You know, did your parents have their parents in their life?
Mm-hmm.
Did you have any traumatic situations in your life that may have triggered this? You know, stuff like that, just so you get background information on you.
Right.
And then the 4th and 5th time, it was like focusing on something. So she'd be like, did you have any triggers to, this week about depression or anxiety? Why? Where do you think that came from? And then from there, I was like, okay, so I like venting and talking to you about these things, but I don't feel like I know how to manage it yet. You're not like, I'm not getting information of how to manage it. And she's like, okay, so what do you suggest of us doing? Do you want to do an exercise every day? Do you want to do like, we work on one thing for a certain period of time and then we come back to it? I was like, yeah. So now I journal every week.
And that's what she suggested, is journal.
Yeah, and then she gave me like exercises that I'm supposed to do about self-worth. Like if I ever have anxiety, there's like a little exercise I'm supposed to do. And it just helps because it makes you understand things about yourself that you didn't even know.
Right.
Like I didn't know when I was a kid, my brother would always make fun of me about not being fat, but like the way that I just talked.
Mm-hmm.
And I never knew that hit home. I just felt like, okay, it's teasing, but it does.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah.
now, us being grown up, I always see him as that person. I never see him as my brother.
As your brother, yeah. You're just somebody else that's just...
That was always because they don't apologize. There's never closure between you.
Right.
It's just that, and like you feel like it's stupid because especially being a guy. And I just want to talk about this because like being masculine and being a guy and whatever the case may be, nobody wants to talk about this shit.
Right.
You'll never have this conversation with Eli or
Right.
Jason. Like, bro, I don't want to talk about that. You know, that's just life. Okay, you want to go out to eat? And they'll just like forget about it.
Well, that's the thing. We will talk about these things to each other, but that wouldn't be a conversation that you would have. Like, it's not an open conversation.
No, yeah.
You know what I mean?
I also feel like they're still holding back. Like, I don't ever
They
think...
might be, but we wouldn't know.
Because they have not accepted that they have these feelings. Like, for me to say that I go through depression and anxiety, I know that I do. A guy will never say that, though.
On the flip side to that is some people say they're depressed and they're sad, but they don't actually know that they are. You know that you are because
no, I know I am.
Things that you've been. But there are some people who use that as a way to get attention and a way to get like.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I just feel like people have to really understand themselves.
Yeah.
Like what they're going through inside and like what they've been going through for years and just accept it.
But wait, before we get on to like masculinities and things like that, because I don't want to get off therapy yet, because you're saying it's helping you and you're saying that it's beneficial for you. What tips do you have for people who might not necessarily have,
the funds for it?
the funds for it and,
Yeah.
or the time and
So I listened to this podcast, weirdly enough, called The Read, and
Yeah.
it's about like two queer people who are they're funny,
Right,
they're like
right, right.
comedians, and they just talk about like pop culture. But they like throughout they've been doing it for like 5 years. I went to their live show and everything. They talk about like them, like one of the co-hosts, his name is Kid Fury. He goes through depression, like actual clinical depression, probably worse than me.
Right.
He goes to a psychiatrist. He takes medication, everything. And they talk about managing it and the way that you go about doing it. So when you go to therapy, you have to put in the work. The therapist is not going to give you all the answers.
right.
Some therapists, and you also have to know the therapist that you're going to. You
Mhm.
might not vibe with the therapist that you're with the first time. You go for a couple weeks and then you change to another person. It just depends. Everybody has a different style of doing therapy.
Right.
So you have to put in the work. So for me to be like, oh, I'm not going to journal this week. You know, I want to go hang out with my girlfriend. Or I
Mhm.
want to go hang out with my friends or whatever. I'm tired. That's not you working on yourself.
Right.
You have to work on yourself. You have to make sure that if you felt like you had a really stressful week,
You have to want it.
or like you are really depressed and you don't know why, it's that getting out of bed. You have to force yourself to do it.
Yeah.
You have to like use the advice he's giving you, the exercise that you're giving to, and be consistent with it, because that's working on yourself. It's just like your body.
Mhm.
If you don't work on your brain, you're gonna lose it.
Right.
If you don't work on your body, you're gonna lose the
Yeah,
muscles.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. You have to put in the time for yourself. Like today, I knew I had really crazy 2 weeks. They weren't bad. They're just really like straining.
Right.
So I was like, for this weekend, I'm just gonna chill by myself. Even though I could have went out with my girlfriend, but I was like, no, I'm gonna chill at home and go to work and go to the gym and just like
Yeah.
chill
So
myself.
if there's somebody who wants to go
Do
to
it.
therapy but they can't,
Oh, there's
what do you suggest for them to do?
so
Like,
there's this thing, Talkspace.
okay.
It's an application that if you can text them.
Yeah.
There's actual licensed therapists. You can text them. You can voice call them. You can do FaceTime. That's on the go because a lot of people, in New York are really busy.
Mhm.
So that's something like that. And podcasts have a lot of like free trials and like discounts on it
Right.
that you can just use. I would go with that. I would also go with like if you are dealing with insomnia, there's a lot of apps that they do cost money, but I feel like they're worth it because if you think sleep is very important to you, go and waste the money because we waste money on like the stupidest things and we don't waste things.
materialistic things.
Not even that. It's like you go out to eat and you'll spend like $50 on like a burger and fries for you and your
Right,
girlfriend.
right.
Like it's crazy. So that $50 could have helped you for a month of like sleeping and like meditating, like that kind of stuff. Some people might think it's doesn't work, that it's like fake and that it'll never help you, but you don't know
until you try.
Yeah.
And everyone's different. So if it doesn't work for you, it might work for somebody else.
Might work a different thing. Like for me, I know meditation doesn't work for me.
Right.
What I like
you've
to
tried it at least, so you know.
Yeah, what I like to do is I like to turn on something that makes me laugh, and I'll just zone out, and I'll just listen to that, and I'll just process my feelings. And if I want to cry, I'll cry, and I'll turn on sad music. Or some people going to the gym really helps.
Right.
It helps them stay motivated. Staying on a routine for some people really helps.
Right.
Like if you break the routine, it's like
or having like a structured day.
yeah, like every day for the whole week of like
Yeah.
I'm gonna go do this at this time. That helps them because it means that they don't have any time, not to like suppress their feelings, but like to not bring those unwanted feelings onto them, and it makes them productive.
And you say, I mean, you said this before, but you suffer from depression. Let's say somebody is feeling similar to what you're feeling, right? And they want a way to like figure out what's going on or how to get up out of bed on those days where they really feel like they can't. Do you have any tips for those people? Because I personally can't speak on it because it's never happened to me. But you said some
You
days
never felt like you never wanted to get out of bed?
Well, of course I felt like
Not
that.
because you're exhausted.
I mean, I felt like that, but I wouldn't call it like depression because
It's not as intense.
if someone comes to my house or someone calls me, like I'll get up, right? So I don't think I've ever had that feeling.
That's where I like said to myself, I was like, I have to take care of myself at this point because it wasn't a one day thing. It was months.
Right.
It was months of it. It was literally months. It was like I would come from, I would have a day off of work. I would be like, I just want to be in my bed. Don't talk to me, Mom. I don't want anything to eat. Leave me alone. Like for months.
What do you do to get out of that though? That like little.
I thought being busy would help, but I didn't see change until I started going to therapy. Honestly, it's like what the first thing she told me is like you live in a very toxic environment. There's certain relationships you can't control, meaning your relationship with your mom and dad, or your dad, but you have to understand the only thing you're in control of is yourself. If you control yourself, you change your mindset on things, you change your perspective on the world, and those things around you that might seem toxic are not going to be toxic anymore because you know yourself and you can handle it. It's literally you. You're just working on yourself. So, the tips I would say is you just have to understand where that depression rooted from. Like, I know where my depression roots from. And they're, like, really dark things of, like, me not accepting being queer and all this stuff, like, always being told that, like, by my dad that's wrong, or, like, everybody around me saying that's, like, vile and, like, inhumane and all this stuff. And, like, I have to accept it first before I can tell other people about it.
Right.
And I have to, like, understand that I need to heal from all the stuff that I've been through.
Yeah.
So you have to create that support system that's uplifting.
Surround yourself with the right people.
Yeah, with positivity that support you and love you no matter what. Like, I know my friends, thank God I'm so fortunate, that, like, any person who's come into my life, they're literally, the first thing I'll tell them, like, if I get into a relationship or what I'm doing, will be like, as long as you're happy, I don't care.
Yeah. But another thing that you have to make sure you pay attention to is if you do have a close group of friends that they're not all yes men and telling you to do whatever.
Yeah,
you
no,
want to
that's
do,
and that's a great point you bring up because I've had that in high school, where friends will be like, no, what you're doing is wrong, like legit, or be like, that's not a good thing to do. You shouldn't do that. Right. They're not yes men.
That's good.
100%.
I feel like a lot of people surround themselves with people who think the same as them and are yes men, so that like everything that they do is
Yeah, shout out to Shadira. I'll let her watch the podcast.
Yeah, shout out to her.
She does. She's the one who tells me, like, no, that's stupid.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of people who do that. Like, my best friend.
That's important, though.
Yeah. My childhood best friend said that also. Like, when I told him I wanted to go to therapy, he told me to just pray more. That's usually what people who are Muslims say.
Yeah.
That's why... what I'm telling you, like, in the Middle Eastern culture, they're not going to talk about these things because they're going to be like, well, there's God, so just pray to him and he'll help you get through it.
But it doesn't work for everybody's different.
I don't even think it's that. I just feel like it's reality. Like, I feel these things, right? And if I've prayed and prayed and prayed about it and it didn't go away, I still have to live my life.
But
I still have to get up and go to my job. I still have to get up and go to school, and it's stopping me from that. So there might be another alternative that I can do. It doesn't always have to be prayer. It doesn't mean that's not true.
I understand that, but some people, that is, like, once they pray, they feel better.
Yeah, no,
so,
I mean, it works for everybody.
Right.
I'm just saying that shouldn't be the
only.
It shouldn't, like, for them, it's not even a thing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to share something kind of serious.
Okay.
My family has had suicides. My cousin recently, like 6 months ago, he was found dead in his store.
Mm-hmm.
He literally was fine 2 hours before, was joking around with his friends and his workers. And then he went downstairs. He had, like, a thing like this in the basement. And he had headphones on, and he was laying down, and they went down to wake him up for something and was dead. Called the ambulance. They're like, he's dead. Probably drank something, probably went through something, and just couldn't tell anybody about it because he lost his dad at a young age. He always felt like his brothers were picking on him, like, all the time. They didn't even, like, acknowledge that he was their brother. He wanted to be in relationships, and everybody basically ghosted him and was like, we're not going to talk to you. We don't do that life. That kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. He wasn't even, like, had an outlet. And the funny thing is, he brought so much happiness to everybody.
Right.
Literally to everybody. And I always get that from people. Mm. They're always like, whenever you're here, you're always, like, positive and, like, social and stuff. I'd be like, yeah, but I'm actually a really sad person. Like, I'm a really sad person.
I think that comes from, like, you don't want people to feel the way you feel. Like, you don't want people to be sad, so you're going to
I think
spread that.
Yeah, it's that, number one. And number two, it helps me to get out of it sometimes if I just push myself. Yeah, and I mean, I've had a cousin who jumped off the roof and killed himself. Certain things. And what they do is, if you ask them, like, how he died, oh, he slipped. Oh, he wasn't like mentally there. He just didn't know what was going on. He died.
Right.
Like when he died, they said, I think, oh, God just killed him. He just died. That was his time to go. So he just laid down, fell asleep, and died.
Wow.
They cover it up.
Right. That's crazy.
They don't talk about that it might be something else.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, like, it wasn't, like, I was really close with him.
Right.
That was my brother's best friend.
How'd that make you feel? It's tough.
It was terrible.
Yeah.
I mean,
sorry to hear that.
Thank you, I appreciate it. But it was harder to see my brother go through it than anything, because that's literally was his best friend. Like, he went to, first time when he was like 17, 18 to Michigan, where I have all like my family.
Mm-hmm.
That was the first guy he went with. When he was feeling down, my brother would go to him to his store and joke around with him, and he would be in such a better mood.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever he just wanted to like talk shit, you have like a buddy that you just
Yeah,
call.
yeah.
And he's always like making jokes and just
Mm-hmm.
happy.
Mm-hmm.
He was there, and he's like, I could not believe it. My brother didn't go to work for 2 weeks because he was so upset by it.
Understandable, yeah.
But he never even like cried or told me about it. And that's what I don't like, because we're like built that way. Like, we're brought up that way. We're not allowed to like show emotion.
Right.
Because then I feel like it's also in the American society of like, if you're not, that's how masculinity is.
Yeah.
But it's tough for Middle Easterns, because
I think it's good though that you see these things and you want to change them. That's good, because there are a lot of people who are just like, okay, that's the way it is, so that's it. We're not changing it, and that's the end of it. That's it.
Yeah, like
it's
the other
good
day,
that you see these imperfections and you're trying to shed light on them.
Always, but I get ridiculed for it all the time.
Yeah, but you can't let that discourage you.
No, I'm not. Cause that's what I'm saying. If I know how to work on it myself, and I'm secure in myself, then nothing else can bother me, because I have worked on enough of myself that I can handle it.
Right.
Like, for example, my older brother, his name is Alex. We have all American names, just so you know. So, like, my actual name is not Jay. Just that's what I go by. Alex, he moved out recently. Not recently, like a year and a half ago. I haven't talked to him in 2 years. I don't have his number in my phone. I don't see him. Nothing. And my family acts like he's not there. He comes over, and they're, like, fine with it. But when he leaves, my dad says, oh, my God, I can't believe he did that to me. I'm still so upset by him. Like, can't believe
he moved out?
Yeah, because he moved out. But he was also married.
So?
But as I'm saying, like,
I
always resented him, Anthony. Always resented him. Because growing up, like, he was the bully to me. He would beat me up for no reason. I would spend months collecting money for a video game, and he would play the entire video game in front of my face and be like, okay, here you go. I've finished. You can play now. Like, that kind of stuff. Picked on me. Like, it just made me feel like shit all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I had to respect him because he was my older brother. And bringing up Mo is a totally different generation of how, like, he's raised now. Like, I tell Mo to do something, he'll straight up be like, fuck you, I'm not doing it.
But if you did that, it'd be the end of the world.
I was smacked across my face. By him and my mom. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I'm a good brother. Like, I wasn't even like Alex. But, like, 2 days ago, I was like, I should reach out to Alex, because maybe he went through the same things that I go through.
You should talk to him.
And
I think that's
he just never, I feel like, because I was always the good kid, I always got the good grades.
Yeah.
We were 3 years apart, and I was in 4th grade, and he was in 5th grade, because he failed twice.
Wow.
So I feel like maybe he always had that, like, resentment against me that my parents always gave me good encouragement.
I think you should talk to him. I think that'll be beneficial for you and probably for him as well, because it obviously I wouldn't say affects you, but you definitely think about it since you just brought it up.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that I don't want to do it is because he never apologized. Like, he's came over to my house and he knows where my room is, and it was never like, we never talked. Like, what's going on? Like, I love you, you're my brother.
Yeah, but sometimes you have to be the bigger person, and
I've always been. I'm younger.
I know. I get it. But sometimes you have to do that. You have to have that conversation, because as much as it may bother you, it may bother him even more. Or as much as it might not bother you, it might bother him a lot. He just doesn't, And listen, even if you make that conversation and it doesn't turn out the way you want it to, or the outcome isn't the way you expected, at least you have that state of mind where you're like, okay, at least I tried. Right? I made the effort. That'll give you more self-satisfaction than sitting here saying, oh, maybe I should.
I mean, I've reached a point where I'm like, if he dies, I literally don't care.
Okay, see, that's not good.
I know. But that's what I'm saying.
So, listen, I don't know everything. I don't know.
I feel like that's what I'm saying. When I'm working on myself, I'm getting more and more, like, forgiving and sympathetic.
Right.
And I'm getting happier and happier. that like to me those things don't even bother me anymore because I'm finally finding what I want to do in life.
Right.
You know, and surrounded by people who are like, yeah, we just want you to be happy. Like literally, you do whatever you want, like as long as you're happy. Go ahead.
I think you should do it. Call Alex. Give him a call. Say what's up, man. How you doing? Or not even call. Just stop by the house if you can, or whatever. I don't know his situation, but
I don't know his situation either. I don't. I came home and Mo opened the door for me, and I was like, "Why is Mo opening the door? He never opens the door for me. I have a key and everything." He opened. I went upstairs to see my sister, and Mo followed us. And I was like, I was just talking about something because I'm really close to my sister.
Yeah,
like, really, really close. And Mo was like, "You know what happened?" I was like, "What happened?" He's like, "Oh, Alex moved out." I was like, "Oh, about time." And that's it. That was the end of it. That's it. I mean, all my brothers and sisters talk to him. I just don't want to. Because he really, really hurt me really bad. Like, I just feel like now that I'm healing,
right.
I'm willing to, like, let him back in my life. But if you asked me 4 or 5 months ago, it would have been completely no. Because he was just so... And my sisters are more forgiving than me. Like, he would say really misogynistic things to my sister's face, like, you're never going to amount to anything. You're a woman. You're probably just going to get married and not live life. You're never going to be a doctor, even though they're the only ones who went to college. Both my brothers didn't even go to college. My sister's in her master's program right now.
Congratulations.
And one was the first one ever in my entire family. And my mom has 10 brothers and sisters with hundreds of kids, right? And she's the only woman to ever graduate college.
That's beautiful.
So that's what I'm saying, right? And you're, like, over here, like, breaking them down.
Listen, man.
I didn't want that energy.
Oh, no, I completely understand that. I don't want that energy either. But, like I said, it may help you if you do,
Yeah, I'm just trying to take care of myself.
We'll see. Yeah, no,
first,
take care of yourself first.
I feel like I've been my whole life always been the bigger person who's always, like, doing things for other people. Like, putting everybody first. Always.
Right.
I would used to fight for my sister's feelings. Like, if she had something going on with her, I'd be like, why do you talk to her like that? Why do you do that to her? Like, it makes her feel this way. And it doesn't even involve me, but I took that position by myself because I love my brothers and sisters to death.
Yeah.
And I feel like even if we don't understand my parents, or they don't understand us, we should be enough collectively
to understand each other.
Have a support system of, like, whatever happens between us, even if this person is cracked out on drugs, we need to support each other because we don't have anybody else but each other. When they die, God forbid, but... Like, if they're dead, I'm just serious. Like, you have to think about these things.
You're saying that now, but you haven't rekindled the friendship with Alex, okay?
But I'm just saying, 40 years from now, when they're dead, we're only going to have each other.
Exactly.
And you're going to lose, like, I'm good, and you're going to lose me. Believe me, you will. And I'll be fine.
That's great that you're going to be fine, but you can't just say you're going to lose me and that's it. Listen, there's a lot of shit going on, all right? You got to figure it out. All right, I believe in you. I know you could do it.
Where does it start, though?
It's got to start somewhere.
Where does it start? It starts with me. Worrying about myself first, and that's what I'm doing. It's a process. I'm stubborn. I know. I've just been.
Yeah, but
I've had
you going to therapy and making these steps, and even just thinking about it, it's a step in the right direction.
I have all these walls that I put up because of that.
Right.
Yeah, so people don't really usually see that because I hide behind them, behind making people laugh and being this fun friend.
Jolly old man.
Yeah, or like giving advice to everybody. But it's the people who are really close to me, they understand it. They get it. They're like, yeah, you seem to go through a lot of things. Like, yeah,
trust me, bro. I understand that. I put on a smile everywhere I go. But, you're not going to know everything that I go through unless you're, like, there,
Yeah.
But it is what it is. Do you want to talk about masculinities real quick?
Sure.
And holding in your feelings if you're a male because it's looked down upon by other males?
I'm going to be completely serious with you right now, right?
Okay.
So, I never thought that you wanted me and you to be friends.
Why?
And I'll let you know why. I told this to Elijah. I didn't tell you.
Okay.
I thought just because I was queer, and I always have this in the back of my mind, and that I've been with guys and whatever the case may be, that, like, you would never want to be friends with me. Or that even if you were friends with me, when I leave, you'd be like, oh, I'm going to use a slur. You'd be like, oh, look at that faggot. Or, like, he's such a fucking idiot. Or,
me?
Like, all of you guys. Anthony, you know how much I envy you? I don't have a group of friends like Jason and Eli. I don't have that.
Okay.
So, like, I've always been like, I wish I can have that. But I'm never going to get that because they're never going to accept this is who I am. Like,
Okay. I don't know where you got that narrative from, but
from the world.
okay, no, I understand where you got it from and
Yeah.
why you see it like that. But me as an individual, I've never thought like that.
But do you
Oh,
think you were like that like 2 years ago?
No. I think that I've grown for sure. I think I grow every single day, and I definitely have grown since I started college. But I don't think that I never looked at somebody and was like, you know, you are queer, gay, lesbian, Muslim, Jewish. I can't fuck with you. If we get along, then we get along. Now, I am more accepting now than I was prior. I'll say that. Like, I guess the difference is now is I want to learn about people that are different than me. Like, because if I'm not gay, I want to learn about, the LGBTQ community and things that are going on in the Muslim religion and things that are going on in the, other parts of the world in different cultures.
But were you
before
always
anything
like that?
No. That's what I'm saying. I've grown into this person that I am now.
That's what I'm saying. But you've had these guy friends since you were like 15.
Yeah.
That's
Definitely.
exactly what I'm saying. I've never had that. And like growing up, it was like really tough for me because I never thought I would even like people would accept that or like want to be around me. Like even now, like 95% of my friends are girls. And it's not because I choose that way. It's just they come to me. Like guys will never be like, "Oh, I like Jay. He's cool. I want to hang out with him." I don't know if they can't relate because you guys like to talk about girls and who's hot and all that stuff, and maybe sports and stuff like that. And I just have different interests. Not saying that I'm not into girls. I am. I'm just saying like I'm not into the sports, cars.
Yeah.
Oh, bro, let's go drinking and all that stuff. I'm not into that. I'm into this geeky bullshit
No,
media.
That's completely understandable, though. To each their own. Like you don't have to.
Yeah, I just feel I'm always gonna feel like that.
I don't think you should, though. I really don't. There are places for everybody. Like in my college, there's an LGBTQ club. There's all these different places for people to go to if they feel like an outsider or they feel alone.
No, I get that. I don't feel alone in the world. I just feel like in your sector of cisgendered straight males, I'm never gonna fit into that. You know what cisgendered is?
I know that it's you like.
No, you were just a man. You never changed your gender. So like Sam when he went on, he was
Sam was a female,
cis female,
and
now he's a male because he's born a female, right? So you guys were all born male,
born males, and our males,
into girls are straight. That's it.
Yeah,
I never felt like I could fit into that.
I understand why you feel like you can't, or you don't feel like you would be able to fit in because you may think differently or have.
Because I'm not
interests,
the most masculine guy in the world.
But that shouldn't discourage you from being involved in it or being.
It hurts. It hurts when you feel. Nobody likes getting rejected. So for me to put myself out there and always been like, no, I'm not saying you guys, but I've had people where like they all go hang out and they never invited me. Nobody likes that. I know that. And I know why they did it. It's because they don't really vibe with me like that because they think.
I hear that, and I've heard that a lot actually.
Because
from people because
you're taught to be masculine,
and I have it's happened to me with my college friends as well. Like there's us three guys, and like me, Jared, Nick, and I were like a little group of friends from college, and people have said to me like, oh, you guys don't really invite us out and whatnot, but it's like it's hard because you have to kind of make that effort. Right, like Nick, Jared, and I didn't just start hanging out. We made the effort to get to know each other and things like that. And I feel like some people get discouraged to do that because of other things. Like you may be like, oh, I don't want to bother people because I don't feel like I fit in with them because they're cisgender. But if you try and make that effort to connect with them, rather than just like, oh, let's hang out. That's how if you try and have like a real conversation, like we just had a real conversation. I think if you try and make that real conversation you will eventually get those invites to hang out, because it's more of a connection than just like, oh, hey, bye, hi, bye, I know who you are, and things like that.
No, I get that. It's hard to put yourself out there when you know.
No, no,
That's what I'm saying. I have to be well aware of myself.
Right.
That even if people were like, I don't want to be friends with you, or whatever the case may be, that I'm fine with it. Because I know myself. Like, I don't feel like I've fully accepted who I am yet.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm working on it, and I've done progress. But once you get to that point, you're like, doesn't really matter.
Damn, that's interesting.
Yeah, like, what is me and Jason gonna relate on?
Well, you don't know until you have a conversation.
But that's what I'm saying.
You gotta have that conversation, though.
But if you know both of us,
okay,
right?
Okay.
Do you think if you ever had to pick two people, you'd be like, oh, Jason and Jay, they would get along perfectly?
If you guys, okay, listen to this. If you guys have a conversation and you talk about something, there may be a similarity there that I might not be able to just point out right away.
I know, but that's what people generalize it. That's what I'm saying. People generalize it. Talking about masculinity, Jason is a very masculine guy.
Yeah.
He's into sports.
Yeah.
He's very buff. He likes working out, all that kind of stuff. He's very astute, like reserved. He's not like out there dramatic, whatever. You know, so for me, I'm kind of the opposite.
Yeah.
I'm kind of more like social. We'll talk about things, you know.
Right.
I would never put us together. I would never be like best friends.
Yeah, but see, you saying that you don't think you'll ever get along with him is already putting a gap in between.
No, if I saw Jason, I'd be like, hey, what's up, bro?
Yeah, but that see, I understand that you'll say that, but in your mind is what I'm saying. Like, if you're already thinking we'll never get along, you're never gonna get along.
That's true.
You know, that's what I mean by like, when you go into a situation, don't say, okay, they're all cisgender males, this probably isn't gonna work out for me. Go in there saying, I'm Jay, and I'm gonna be me, and if I don't get along with them, that's on them, and it is what it is.
But you don't like feeling uncomfortable in the situation, you know.
If you think about
that's what
it too
I'm
much,
saying. I have to be comfortable with myself.
Right. I was gonna say, if you think about it too much, you won't feel comfortable.
If I'm comfortable with myself, I will not care.
Exactly.
Whether you guys are
it's
comfortable.
It's all self-growth, and so I understand what you're saying.
So that's why I chose this decision. That's why I'm so happy that I had that rock bottom, because I totally understand now that like I have to work on myself, and I always go back to the statement of I could only control myself and nothing else. So if I can have myself under control, everyone else will not be as hard.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah.
And another thing that I like kind of agree with is you can only control your actions, not other people's reactions.
Yeah.
So you can only control what you say, not what other people.
Like Elijah being an introvert and us being extroverts doesn't mean that we can't get along with Elijah.
Yeah. Right.
You know, I've always got along with Elijah. He was actually like my first guy friend ever.
Yeah.
Weirdly enough.
Elijah's a nice guy. Shout out to Elijah.
Yeah, shout out to Elijah. He's a nice guy.
Yeah, he is. All right, so we've been going for an hour and 13 minutes.
Yeah, so I think it's time to wrap it up.
Yeah, we're gonna close it out here. That was a really good conversation. I'm gonna thank Jay for stopping by the office.
No, thank you for having me. I'm sorry I'm late. I appreciate it.
No, bro, don't even worry about it. It's been Office Exchange Podcast. I don't know why the fuck I just said 3 times in a row, but that's okay. I said it again. Whatever. All right, we're fucking done.
Bye.
Right, thanks, Jay. Fuck.